Jake, I guess for you, what's early returns on the spring? A few new faces mixing in, and got some veterans back to build around. How nice is that?
It's been good. I think the biggest thing about creating success up front is having some consistency and some continuity there, and we definitely have that. I think it starts with having a big presence at center like Connor Lew and Tate Johnson. Tate's been playing center for us as well and doing a really good job. Tate's obviously the guy's been around Auburn the longest in the room, and so having him and Connor there to kind of lead those guys has been really good. And then having guys coming back like Jeremiah Wright, who's Jay's going into his first real spring as an offensive lineman here. He's doing a really good job. Big physical presence. He's really transformed his body. He's got a lot of good weight on him right now, so certainly excited about him. And then having D Wade and Tutal back, for their second spring with us as well. So excited about that and what they bring to the table. And then the new faces as well. Big Percy coming in. He's a big personality, brings a lot of life to the room, and doing a good job for us. Excited to see his progression over the next, 5 months going into the first game of the year. And then the new guys are obviously doing a really good job with Seth and Favor and all those guys that came back from last year as well. So really excited about the consistency and the continuity that we're creating right now.
Has Percy taken you for a ride on his motorcycle yet?
No, I'm staying off that. I think, I recruited Percy out of junior college a couple of years ago, and, that was when he first started telling me he rode motorcycles and dirt bikes, and I was like, man, that's a big man now. Percy's one of the biggest human beings I've ever been around, but there's probably only a motorcycle big enough to fit him and not both of us on there. But I try to tell him that he needs to stay off of it for at least the next 10 months, to stay off the dirt bikes until we get done playing. So. But, no, he's been fun. I enjoy Percy and the life he brings to the room, and his effort and attitude and focus has been really good since he's been here. So
we saw Tyler, a little left, a little right. You got Percy, you got Tutal. How nice is it to have a trio of guys that you can roll and kind of find that best combination? Is that kind of the goal?
Yeah, that was the goal. I mean, we got fortunate last year going through the entire year, and Tutal had some minor injuries, but never had to miss a game. And for us to go through a whole 13-game season with not losing a guy at tackle to injury was very rare. And so for us, the goal was to build some depth there, and having Percy and Tutal and Tyler and then Seth Wilford taking reps with the second group. And the thing I got to remind myself a lot is Seth is just a freshman. I mean, he's in the spring of his true freshman year, so he's got a lot of football left ahead of him. Sometimes when you take a junior college guy, you automatically assume, okay, he's got to be ready right now, but that's not really the case for Seth. And then also having Muskie, who played tackle for me last year, that's been primarily a guard during spring practice, he can go out there and play tackle. And then obviously the guy who's going to play left guard for us was a 13-game high-level performer at left tackle. So you got some leeway there where you're not going into a game holding your breath, hoping nobody gets banged up. So really excited about the way that position, that tackle position group is performing. And I think it all comes down to competition. When there's guys in there like Tyler Johnson, who has really came alive the last 5 months, when guys can come in that room and really push the competition, everybody elevates because they have to. They can't go into a practice not having a good day. Because they know there's somebody right on their heels pushing for that job and pushing for those reps. So,
all right. How much does it help Wade, I guess, personally, for his future and this team moving him to guard?
Yeah.
And what can you do on that left side line with him and Percy over there?
Yeah, so Dylan, when after the season, just like everybody that kind of hits that draft eligible year, he had some questions about, like, well, how do I get myself on the draft boards? How do I get myself ready? And just looking at D Wade, it's his body type is what the NFL is looking for in a center and a guard, and having the athletic ability, having the natural power. So it was the best for both of us, because I do think having him at guard, with how much wide zone we run, how much counter we run, he's going to fit that position perfectly, and it's going to help him elevate his draft status to get ready for after next season. So it was a move that benefited him, but also benefited us as well. But we needed to go find somebody that could step in and fill that role at left tackle. And right now we feel like we have two guys there with Percy and Tyler Johnson. Both of those guys are performing at a really really high level. And so having that left side, performing at a high level has really helped us through the first 7 days of spring in the protection and in the run game.
You mentioned Connor. How different is he a year, and how much of that playing time last year you got thrown to the fire? How much have you seen that change him heading into his second spring?
Yeah, I mean, we always knew Connor was going to be a special player. It was just a matter of when, not if. And, unfortunately, we hated to lose Avery during the season, but Avery Jones from last year. But that was the best thing that happened to Connor and for us as an O-line, because it allowed Connor to get his confidence built up. And he's not a rookie anymore. He's not a freshman. He's an 8-game starter and had a really good 8 games. But I think the biggest thing for Connor is he's really stepped up the leadership part of his game. Very vocal, physical presence. He's because of how well he did last year. At practice, he's going to get everybody's best shot, and he's really performed and really as everybody else around him is elevated, he's elevated his game even more as well. And I think the mental aspect of it is huge. He learned a lot last year from those older guys that had played a lot of football, and now he's always in the film room, always after class and stuff. He's up there watching tape and getting ready, and he's never coming into a meeting or a practice walkthrough unprepared. And that's what shows when we go out there to the practice field, because he plays so fast and plays at such a high level.
Xavier Miller, is he a guy that when he ended last season made some jumps, but still has a long way, or not a long way, but more that he can build upon? And how do you think he's progressing there?
Yeah, I mean, too tall coming into last year. He was a limited experience guy coming out of junior college, and he ended up winning that job during fall camp because he had really good weight on him. He was athletic and explosive. And he did battle some ankle stuff during the season, but once he got healthy, I thought he performed well down the stretch, particularly well in the run game versus Alabama. Showed some energy and some competitiveness that we were really looking for, from him at that position, and he's really built off that coming into the all season. He's got his weight. He's got to continue to gain weight, but he's in good weight right now. He's carrying it well. He's strong. He's focused a lot on his technique. He was probably the best one of any of those guys that really self-scouted himself from last year. And, okay, this is what I got to go work on. This is what I need to do. And it's paying off for him right now. And then also the competition in that room has really pushed him, and he has risen to that level. He's not scared of competition. And I think bringing guys in there to helping him push himself along has really been beneficial to him as well. So excited about where he is, and certainly excited about Coach Dom and Miss Danielle getting a whole nother offseason with him leading into his senior year.
I think it's fair to say you inherited a little bit of a mess at offensive line when you got here. Do you feel like you've sort of built it up, not maybe all the way where you want it, but where you've got guys in the junior class, sophomore class, freshman class, guys ready to step up when the next guys move on? Yes,
I do feel like we're on our way. Something about me and the O-line, we all embody this deal is we're never going to be satisfied. We want to win the Joe Moore Award. We want to win the SEC. We want to win the national championship. And then hopefully when we get to that one day, we're going to try to go do it again the next year. And so we're always working and striving to get where we want to be. I do feel like we've covered a lot of ground in a short period of time. That's a testament to this whole program, though. I was bragging yesterday. Coach Dom and Miss Danielle are the two best people in my life in this building, because they are helping me. I'm bringing them these young players or these transfers, and they are helping them add or lose good weight. And then Coach Dom just getting them right in the weight room so that when they come to me on the practice field in spring and fall camp, I can focus solely on getting them developed on the field. And that's from guys who are transferring in, 6-year guys, all right, which we saw last year and another one this year, and that's true freshmen as well. The work that they've put in, and then the work that Coach Freeze with the culture and the team aspect of it, it allows these guys not to be complacent, but to be comfortable in their surroundings and know that there's people around them that trust them and care about them. And it's helping them grow as a person, which ultimately when they step between those white lines, it allows them to play better, play faster, play with more confidence, because they genuinely care and love the people around them. So I think that's why we're seeing really at every position. I can highlight a young dude and an old dude at every position that's really made strides since we've been here because of Coach Freeze and the culture that he installs in our program.
Well, so I wanted to ask you about that. It's possible next year you may have to replace both tackles and both guards. And this spring is probably the best time for the young guys to step up and
right.
show that they're ready to compete. Who are some guys you feel like are making a move toward possibly being those guys in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one, Tyler Johnson. I'm excited about Tyler. He has just totally transformed as a person since he's been here. You know, we talk about recruiting all the time, and we got to go get these guys, and that is always true. The biggest thing about O-line play is the development once they're in the building. We have to develop guys, okay? Yes, we want to go get these ready-made dudes like everybody else in the country, but when we get guys like Tyler, it's our job to develop them into the player they can be, and he has made probably the biggest strides I've seen a young player make. He's still got work to do. He knows that. The best thing about Tyler is he wants that work. He wants to be competitive. He wants to continue to get better. So Tyler Johnson's certainly one that's stepping up. E.J. Harris has had a really good spring for us. I threw him in there yesterday some with the ones in some situations, and he really did a good job. EJ is probably the most coachable guy on the offensive line, meaning that he craves that coaching. He wants you to coach him. He wants to be really, really good. So he's doing a really nice job. You know, I think Seth Wilford is doing a really good job. He's young, inexperienced. I kind of relate him very much to what Tutal was last year, except for younger than Tutal was last year. So, but big body with some athletic ability and some traits that I believe when we get some more time underneath us, he's going to be able to shine on this offensive line. I think Faber Edwards doing a good job. You know, when we took him, you know, everybody labeled him as a project, and he is, but he is so much further ahead mentally than what I thought he was going to be, and physically. So really excited about the trajectory of him as well. Another guy that's really stepped up, and I'm proud of him for it, is Braden Joyner. Braden has done a really good job. You know, he struggled last spring, but he acknowledged that he struggled. I'm not just talking about football, but off the field, he knew what his downfalls were, and he attacked those. He went on scout team this fall and really competed, and he's doing a great job competing right now. When somebody goes down in the first or second group, I don't even have to turn around, and Braden is sprinting in there to get reps, and I love that. Like, that means that I know that guy wants to do it, and I can work with that. And so excited about him and what he's going to bring to the table. So those are kind of the guys that are standing out. I do think that everybody in my room, in our O-line room, is working really, really hard. So I don't want to leave anybody out, but everybody's doing a really good job. But I'd say those are the guys that are really flourishing and standing out on a day-to-day basis for us.
You see Faber as a tackle guard? What do you see him?
I see him as a tackle. Right now, that's where he is. That's where we're going to develop him as. We'll see what his body does in the weight room, but I think right now that's where he's going to be, and he's shown real progress there. So excited about that position for him.
Jake, do you have an example of Tyler growing? Is there what specifically, I guess, have you seen on or off the field that's like you can point to when you talk about how much he's grown as a person?
Yeah, I mean, as far as off the field, because I think the on the field stuff, it'll be easy to see once people see him in action. But off the field, just when he got here, he was very quiet, reserved. He still has that about him, but he's very confident. He's a very confident person right now. Whereas when he got here in June, a lot like most freshmen, was very nervous, very shy. But he's really blossomed as a person in his confidence. Teammates love him, want to be around him. You know, used to not be able to pry anything out of him, you know, word-wise, and now he's, you know, you walk in the O-line room, if you guys walked up there right before the meeting, he'd be, you know, the life of the room a little bit, and I like that about him. He's kind of developed that personality that I think you'll see translate onto the field of that confidence about him. And that goes back to, in my mind, Coach Freeze's culture here and what we are building here and what Coach preaches on a day-to-day basis. I think little things like that is how I see the growth in the program as a guy like Tyler really being comfortable with his surroundings and really being able to become the person that he wants to be.
Yeah, you talked about, Ron asked about rebuilding it. 25 is a huge, you've been pointing towards the 25 class in terms of recruiting for quite a while. What's kind of the number you're shooting for? I know it always is always a variable because you never know if you lose guys, but what do you think about kind of the board and kind of how things are going in terms of recruiting this class?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to take it. I say this all the time. We're going to take as many good ones as we can get. I think we have slotted five spots. We could take up to 6. I think this 2025 class is really, really, really good. And so I'm really excited about this area of guys and nationally. Aaron Pittard is a guy who works in personnel. He's going to be a superstar in his line of work. He's done a really good job of identifying guys, helping me ID the tape, and getting them here on campus. And so I feel like we've put ourselves in a position to where we can sign a really strong class. We got to continue to work at it, continue to recruit, and get those guys here. But excited about what that class can bring. And for us, it is what I would say. You asked earlier about the O-line and how we've made up ground. And I think this 25 class can really help us shift the trajectory of that room for the long haul, not just short term, but for the long term.
Jake, Connor Lew, I'm sure you probably already asked this, but what's the ceiling on him? How good can he